All right, we have a slight update from Kyle Shanahan on some of the injuries that were sustained in the game against the Jets, and obviously what's going on with Christian McCaffrey. So, obviously, let's take an opportunity to discuss the injuries, and then we'll talk about what he said with CMC. So, injury wise, not bad. Jauan Jennings has an ankle, and Aaron Banks has a calf. Both players are day to day, so nothing too serious there. Now, obviously, everyone wants to know what is actually going on with Christian McCaffrey, who's dealing with a calf slash Achilles and all those different types of things. Well, Kyle Shanahan said that he believes that if today was a playoff game, that Christian McCaffrey would play, and he calls Christian McCaffrey day to day. As we know, Christian was listed as questionable on the final injury report, and I think the indications based on what CMC was saying and based on what we were hearing from John Lynch, and they sounded like he was going to play. So that's why it was a big surprise that he didn't end up playing, surprise inactive before the game. So obviously that caught everyone off guard. And so we're trying to discern and figure out, and obviously a big stink was generated over when apparently Jordan Mason said he was told he was going to be the starter. Uh, I'm still trying to grasp that situation to understand why it's a big deal outside of outside circumstances, to just say. And so, in regards to CMC and how everything's progressing, obviously we want him out there and we want him good to go. And I know everyone wants to get him in their starting lineups and fantasy and all that good stuff, but I think with what we're seeing is the 49ers are just being very, very patient with this injury. I mean, we already know Christian McCaffrey has been out for weeks for the most part, didn't participate in, you know, a lot of training camp. So it's a tough situation, but we do officially know that CMC is day to day. So I think there is a chance that he plays against the Minnesota Vikings coming up. But of course, it's going to have to be something that we monitor and we pay attention to throughout the week. Again, this was a tough one because all signs were pointing towards him playing. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. Also, seeing right now that from David Lombardi that there is a chance that Yetur Gross-Matos, who's dealing with a knee, and D. Winters, who's dealing with an ankle, are back in practice this week. And there also is some hope potentially that Talanoa Hufanga can play versus the Vikings. Kyle Shanahan says he has a chance. So I think the same thing maybe applies there with Hufanga as well. If he had to play, he probably could have. But I think, again, at this early portion and stage of the season, we know it's a marathon, right? So, and it's also a war of attrition. So who can be the healthiest heading into the dance? So we know the 49ers are ultra cognizant of this. They had a ton of injuries throughout training camp. So this to me feels like they are just trying to make sure that they are in a good spot moving forward. So I don't have any I mean, I can't say that I don't have long-term concerns for Christian McCaffrey because I think now it feels a little bit more serious than I assumed it was. So there might be a little bit long-term concerns of, is this going to be a lingering issue? Is it a cat? Is it a calf? Is it Achilles? What's going down? So obviously the 49ers having some experience with a player dealing with a nagging Achilles injury, you have to kind of rationalize that they're probably just being ultra careful, ultra cautious with this situation, and just ensuring that it's not a bigger problem later on down the road. I think the 49ers would much rather not have Christian McCaffrey for the early portion of the season than the back end of the season. So, based on that logic, I get it. I understand it. Obviously, we want to see CMC out on the field, but it also just gave a great opportunity to Jordan Mason to see what Jordan Mason can do. Had over 150 all purpose yards, 2 touchdowns, and proves that the 49ers got another running back. So, with the situations, with the injuries, it sounds like they got out pretty much unscathed. We have a little bit of clarification on the CMC where, the guys who did get banged up are day to day. Sounds like Winters and Yetur Gross-Matos have an opportunity to return along with Talanoa Hufanga. So overall, I would say it's a pretty positive injury report, considering the instant shock that most of us had come to find out that he wasn't going to be playing on Monday Night Football. But I think all things considered, with how everything is played out, I think we're good to go. And the 49ers feel like they're in a good spot here. So those are kind of the injuries that we've got so far. I will, of course, let you guys know if anything else happens or comes down. But that is the current injury update post 49ers versus Jets Monday Night Football. Let me know what your concern level is below in the chat. And as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more updates.